Bonjour. So today we're going to talk about l'imparfait. We're going to learn the grammar rules of l'imparfait. So what is l'imparfait? L'imparfait is an imperfect tense in French that describes and states actions that are ongoing or repeated in the past. So l'imparfait states actions that are ongoing, actions that took a long period of time and that are maybe repeated in the past. If maybe you keep on doing a particular action on a daily basis, then while describing this action, you are going to use l'imparfait. Let's look at a few sentences, a few examples. Quand il était petit, Pierre aimait beaucoup les pommes. That means when he was young, when Peter was young, he used to love apples. Being young doesn't take one day, it takes a duration of time. So in this case, we're going to use l'imparfait. The second example, tous les jours, il visitait sa grand-mère qui habitait à Nairobi. Every day he visited his grandmother who lived in Nairobi. Therefore, the action is a repeated action in the past, and that's why we are using l'imparfait, because in the past he used to visit his grandmother who lived in Nairobi. Okay, now we go to formation of l'imparfait. So to form l'imparfait, take the new form of the verb in present tense. Then so we're going to take the new form of the verb in present tense as our stem, and then we are going to add the endings of l'imparfait. So les terminaisons de l'imparfait sont je, c'est AIS, tu, c'est AIS, il, elle, c'est AIT, nous, c'est IONS, vous, c'est IOZ, elle, c'est A-I-O-N-T. So those are les terminaisons de l'imparfait, the endings of l'imparfait. Formation. So like normally we said verbs are divided into two groups. We have the regular verbs and the irregular verbs. But for l'imparfait, this rule does not really help because what you need to know the new form of the verb in present tense so that you remove the endings and add the endings of l'imparfait. However, let's look at different categories and how to conjugate them in l'imparfait. We have the verb on er verbs so this verb is chanter, which means to sing. So the new form of the verb will be nous chantons. So to form it in l'imparfait, on va supprimer ONS, we're going to remove ONS, and we are going to add les terminaisons de l'imparfait. So it's going to be je chantais, tu chantais, il chantait, nous chantions, vous chantiez, il, elle chantait. Examples of verbs in ER, les verbes en ER, on a manger, écouter, regarder, danser, nager, visiter. These are just examples of ER verbs. However, for manger, we are going to retain the E because it is nous mangeons, and then we're going to add the endings of l'imparfait. Another examples are verbs in IR. Le verbe on IR, example of the verb is finir. In new form is going to be nous finissons. So to conjugate it in l'imparfait is going to be je finissais, tu finissais, il, elle finissait, nous finissions, vous finissiez, il, elle finissait. So that means we have removed the endings ONS and we have added the endings of l'imparfait, which are AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IOZ, AIONT. Examples of IR verb we have choisir, agir, rougir, among others. These are just an example of verbs that belong in that category. We have les verbes on RE, verbs in RE, comme the verb attendre, which means to wait. So the new form of this verb is nous attendons. So to form l'imparfait, on va supprimer le ONS, we're going to remove ONS, et puis on va ajouter les terminaisons de l'imparfait. So the verb is going to be j'attendais, tu attendais, il attendait, nous attendions, vous attendiez, ils, elles attendaient. Examples of verbs that end in RE are under regular, we have descendre, entendre, rendre. Okay. Now, an example of a sentence. Hier, j'attendais le bus. Yesterday, I was waiting for the bus. Another example, so we have irregular verbs. So we said irregular verbs don't follow any particular pattern. They are conjugated in their own way, in their own particular way. An example, c'est le verbe venir. Oui, so we conjugated je viens, tu viens, il vient, elle vient, nous venons, vous venez, ils viennent. So to form this in l'imparfait, we're going to take the new form, nous venons. Et puis, on va supprimer le ONS. We're going to remove the ONS and we're going to add les terminaisons de l'imparfait. So we have je venais, tu venais, il, elle venait, nous venions, vous veniez, il, elle venait. So that is venir à l'imparfait. Another example of an irregular verb, c'est le verbe prendre, which means to take. The new form, c'est nous prenons. So we are going to supprimer ONS and we are going to add les terminaisons de l'imparfait. So it's going to be je prenais, tu prenais, il, elle prenait, nous prenions, vous preniez, il, elle prenait. So those are the how we conjugate prendre à l'imparfait. Then we have exceptions to this rule. The verb être is the only verb that does not follow this rule. The rule is conjugating the verbs in present tense, then taking the new form of the verb and adding the endings of l'imparfait. So être does not follow this rule. So the verb être is going to be j'étais, tu étais, elle était, nous étions, vous étiez, ils, elles étaient. Okay, so that is the verb être à l'imparfait. Oui. Quand j'étais petite, when I was young, it means I was young for a period of time. Thank you for listening. Kindly remember to subscribe. Merci beaucoup et au revoir.